conversation with Kenneth Favre from EFA Partners, and then we'll do the drawing. EFA Partners is a New York-based investment advisory company. They are three gentlemen who work at GE Capital in the entertainment group. Thank you. And we're going to drink out of our bottles. Seems like a fun glass. And can you tell us a little bit about EFA and why what you're doing has an impact for independent exhibitors who are going into the digital world for the first time?
Sure. Just to go back a little bit, as Peter mentioned, my two partners and I come out of GE Capital's Entertainment Finance Group. We had a good run there. We closed and/or managed about $3 billion in senior debt financings. A lot of that was in the digital cinema and film exhibition space. We were the guys that provided $217 million for GE Capital that they provided to Cinedigm to roll out their first 4,000 screens in digital. So, when we left GE Capital about a year and a half ago, we decided, we had worked in all these different spaces: music, entertainment, amusement parks, theme parks, casinos, sports, film exhibition, digital cinema. We kind of, said, okay, where are we going to focus? And we decided it would be across that film chain, which includes film production finance, film service businesses like Panavision, Deluxe, and Technicolor, digital cinema, which we had expertise in, as well as film exhibition. And so, what we've done is basically half of our business is developing clients that we work for and provide strategic help on the finance side, as well as capital placement, capital raising services. And a lot of what we do, though, is we go out and we seek alternative financing sources. We develop relationships with groups that you wouldn't necessarily think of, whether it be regional banks or national banks that have smaller groups that focus on the theater exhibition industry or focus on equipment finance. And that's basically what we decided to do. That's where we started.
And you have a particular program that you developed with the Small Business Administration to help independent exhibitors finance digital, right?
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. By the way, Peter and I went to high school together.
Except Kenny graduated.
So I was a shoo-in here.
We didn't know each other.
Sure. And I can talk about that for smaller exhibitors. And actually, that the SBA limits have just been raised up, and we'll talk about that. But I can also talk about, there's a lot of lenders out there right now that are even able to provide financing for the mid-sized theaters, up to 300 screens of that nature. So actually, what we did was, we decided that, with DCIP happening, that was it was a big impetus for lenders to say, okay, this thing is going to happen. Everything is going to turn digital. Prior to this, the digital equipment was basically a new asset class. And lenders, lessors, financiers were not comfortable with that class. But now they know that they've been operating very reliably for the last 4 years. They're critical assets to the business. DCIP financing got done, and so the conversion is going to happen. And so these lenders are more comfortable. And what we do is we go in and we typically go into a lender or a lessor, whoever the financer is, and we pitch the industry to them. We pitch the film industry, we pitch digital cinema and exhibition. We get them comfortable with the credits, and then we start bringing them deals. Now, in this particular instance, what we did was for the smaller exhibitors that would find it hard to be able to get that financing, exhibitors that may be off the break, considered off the break, so their VPFs are going to be less. We developed a program with Infused Capital, Infused Commercial Capital. They've been in the SBA lending business for years. And in conjunction with Cinedigm and CIT, which has provided a $50 million commitment, a bucket of financing sitting there to roll out the financings for these digital conversions for smaller theaters. It's a wonderful program. It's a 10-year financing. It's at prime plus 275. It can finance up to 100% of the equipment. There could be PGs involved, so if that's an issue for you, there are a lot of other routes that you could potentially take. But it really is something that the lenders have latched onto, and in our case, the program we put together CIT, because the lender is CIT, but the funds are 90% guaranteed by the SBA. And right now, those limits just went up from a $2 million cap on the lending for the equipment to $5 million, and the business net worth has been raised from $8.5 million to $15 million, and there's a $5 million limit on the net income as well. That went up from $3 or $3.5 million, I believe. So exhibitors, for instance, that have up to 70 screens could potentially qualify to convert to digital under that program.
So potentially an exhibitor could convert to digital without putting any money up front.
That's conceivable. I mean, there are some fees. There are some small lender fees involved, a 2% program fee. But as
other
far
than
as
the minimal fees, I'm talking about a down payment, if you will, on the system.
No, it could be up to 100%. It just depends on the credit of the exhibitor, and they do look at credit scores as well. And basically, what you do is you put together a typical package of personal and business financials. There's an application packet. You submit that. You're actually pre-qualified by our guy, the SBA guy. His name is David Kenneth, and his group Infuse. You're pre-qualified, and what that means is you don't shell out a penny until he pre-qualifies you and says, yeah, I think this is going to work, because he's worked with these guys for years and years on the SBA side and CIT. At that point, you would provide a very small fee to run the application through the...
What's a very, in terms of a couple $100?
$1,500 to run it to the lender, CIT. If they turn you down, it's completely refundable.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a pretty neat program. And right now, in addition, SBA has extended the waiver on their fee. So there's no SBA fee, which could be as high as 3%.
That waiver has been extended until...
And the funds are in place, and it's an appropriation, so most likely through December.
Okay. So act now.
Act now.
Yeah, okay. Kenneth Favre, thank you very much. We are very limited for time. Again, you can speak to Kenny directly if you have a question.